Do you ever feel like there's just not enough time in the day? And no matter what you seem to do, you always find yourself chasing time instead of being able to control it. But the truth is, we all have the same 24 hours in a day, but it's how we use them 24 hours that makes the big difference. That's right, we all have 24 hours in a day, the same 24 hours. But what makes a difference between somebody that seems to be really organised and got everything planned out and somebody that's just chasing time and not getting anywhere? As this video is in my Healthy Habits series, I'm going to be talking to you about how to manage your time more effectively, break the 24 hours down, see where we're wasting time and we could be doing things more productively, and how to weed out the important things and the not so important things. This is actually something that I'm guilty of myself. I tend to say yes to a lot of things, plan a lot of things for myself, start a lot of courses, and then just find myself too overwhelmed and then not doing anything. And then I end up feeling like a failure and I've not achieved anything. But sometimes my expectations are up here and the reality is down here, and I tend to push myself too hard. So what I'm going to talk to you about today is how I conquered that. I managed to be able to fit the things in that are important to me and make that a healthy habit rather than becoming too overwhelmed. So let's look at this 24 hours then. Where does it all go? The amount of time, as we say, God, doesn't time fly when you're having fun? Or, where's the time gone? I've just got started. But when you're trying to achieve something and plan something, especially adding all these healthy habits into your weekly routine that we've been talking about, especially an exercise program, for example, trying to slot that in to your weekly routine and making sure you keep it as a priority, that can be hard and difficult. And other things can get in the way. So let's look at optimal sleep, 8 hours. And then let's say you go to work or whatever your main role is that you do every day for 8 hours. That's 16 hours. And then let's say it takes you an hour to get ready before work, maybe 2 hours. Let's be generous, 2 hours getting up, having breakfast, getting ready, getting to work as well. Maybe you drive there or whatever your main role is. So let's say 8 and 8, 16, plus 2 hours to get ready and get to work is 18. And maybe the same when you get back. 2 hours back, settled in, dinner, eating dinner. So let's say 20 hours. That's your main day. That leaves you 4 hours. What do you do in them 4 hours? Because if you're resting, because you deserve a rest because you've worked hard, or you're reading, or you're meditating, or you're doing anything like that, that's good, positive. But if you're just scrolling on your phone, be real with yourself, if you're just scrolling through your phone for the most of them 4 hours, or you don't actually know what you do, maybe start paying attention to what you're doing outside of them essential hours. What is it that you're doing? And if it is scrolling on your phone, maybe cut that down. I'm going to be talking about how to put everything into a routine. So maybe hold on to that and think about what it is you do, how many hours you spend scrolling. And we can actually, if it's important to you, maybe half the time, bring it onto your routine. We'll see how we go when we get there. So I'm out for a walk today and hat is needed. It's getting a bit windy. I believe further up north they've got a storm coming, Storm Dave. But it seems not too bad here. Just a little bit breezy at times. I'm doing another 3-mile walk again for my virtual miles I'm tracking. And I just thought it'd be really good to come and talk to you about time management and routine to be able to fit all the healthy habits in that we've been going through previously. My last video was on exercise, so I do believe it's really important to be able to prioritise your exercise within your routine. So when I'm in my really busy periods, or I am starting off a whole new set of habits or new routine, I will set myself a planner, and every Sunday I will fill out that planner for the week ahead. So I have a spreadsheet, and on my spreadsheet it's got the days of the week across the top, and then hour, or you can even do half-hour blocks depending what's important to you, down the side. I normally start it from the time that I wake up and finish it at the time I go to bed. I then fill out all the important things of each day in the blocks next to the timings. So your main role would easily go in there. So for example, I would do the time I woke up. I would block out a area of time for getting ready. I wouldn't do individual things like put the washing on or have breakfast or travel to work. I'll put a block that says getting ready for work or something like that, and I would block that out 1 or 2 hours depending on how long that is, and that would be my blocked out time. The same when I come back from my main job, I would just block out a time for evening activities, having dinner, whatever. They're the things that you're going to be doing routinely every week. Now, if you are starting a new routine of introducing a fitness program or some study time, anything like that, this is where you could fill this in, your ideal timings to work around whatever everything else that you do. This isn't set in stone, so don't worry when you do it the first time. This is just to help you stick to your plans. And then when you put it into practice, if things need changing, then change them. It's just a guide to get you started. This system works really well for me and has done for a while. Let me know if you use a routine planner for your week each week, or do you have a diary, or is there some other method that you use that works really well? Even though I've been using this for a while and it's been effective, when my time got even busier, I did struggle. And then I introduced something else which really helped me, which is the priority box. So you may or may not have heard of the priority box, but it's a really good way to filter out what is really important to you in that coming week and what you think might have been important to you, but when you look at the priority box, it's not as important as you actually thought it was. So if you've not heard of the priority box before, I'll give you a quick explanation. So if you draw a box with a cross in the centre, so it's got 4 quadrants. In the top left-hand side is urgent and important. In the top right-hand side, it's important but not urgent. Bottom left is urgent but not important. And bottom right quadrant is not urgent and not important. So if we look at the top quadrant and the top left-hand side, which is important and urgent, this would be the things that you need to take action on immediately, like the closest crocodile to the canoe. What is it that's so urgent that needs to be done immediately or needs to be of high importance for you in the coming days? If you look at the next quadrant, which is important but not urgent, this is what's important to you that needs to get done, but it doesn't have the same urgency as the other tasks that you may have. Bottom left is urgent but not important, as in not important to you. So urgent but not important. And then bottom right is not urgent and not important. Once it's complete, everything that's in that top left-hand box, important and urgent, I would make sure is in my weekly routine, that I've got that written down. Even if it's just blocking out, because you might have a few tasks that you need to get done, and maybe you can do them all at once. Maybe it's a few emails you've got to do, for example. You could just block out some time to make sure you get all your admin bits done all at once. So you could block out an hour, for example, and you can call it personal time or personal admin time or something like that. And that's when you would plan then to do anything that you've got personal for yourself, pay a bill, send an email, take a phone call, anything like that you could put into that hour slot. Then if I had space and I had the time to do it, I would add quadrant 2, which is your important but not urgent. But when we look at urgent but not important, that might be something that's urgent to somebody else, but it's not that important to you. Now, these are something that you can ask somebody else to do or to help you out with. Or if you're in a working environment, you can delegate. So really you should only be using the top 2 quadrants to fill up your weekly routine. Now, if you're finding it's quite full early on, just prioritise and make sure you're putting in the things from quadrant 1 before quadrant 2. If that spills over, it doesn't matter. Another thing that you can do, you can block out time for the really important things. And if there's certain things at certain times you need to do, one of the things that I do as well is I use the tasks on my phone, or you can say reminders or tasks or notes, whatever you want to use on your phone. But I use the tasks app, and I set myself tasks for certain days at certain times, or I just put them down for a certain day, doesn't matter what time. But they're the little things that need to be ticked off, not the big things where you need to block out some time for a certain activity. This is basically the little things like make that phone call quickly. If you've only got one more call to make, you don't need to sit down and block out some time. You can put that into your notes or into your tasks and then tick it off when it's done. But this is mainly about putting the most important things that have to happen in that week into your weekly routine. And like I've said before, it doesn't matter if you don't stick to it all, because at least you've got a plan, and it doesn't matter if it changes. When you start this plan and you start working through it and you're looking at your routine, don't pressure yourself, don't worry about it. It's not there to be rigid. That's why I'm saying not to put so many little things in there, keep them somewhere else, because it can get very overwhelming. So if you have your timings down the side too precise, like every 5 minutes, it's just going to be too hard to keep to. That's why I like to do it per hour down the side. Don't be so precise. Make sure that you block out that time to cover the actual time period. Make it so it's easier for you to read, for one, not too overwhelming. If it's too jam-packed, you're just not going to change everything, especially if you're making a whole new routine in there, like you put an exercise plan in there. It's going to be hard to stick to if everything's too rigid. So just have it like an overview, and all the small things keep a track of somewhere else. I find it really useful to use my priority box every week alongside my weekly routine planning. I find it really easy, and there is times when I have to change it. It's one of the biggest things that makes me change it is if somebody else comes into the mix and wants me to do something different. So say there's a family meal or something like that, or somebody wants you to take them somewhere, but you've already got something set in stone on your routine. Depending on how important it is for you to do that thing, it depends on whether you change what's in your routine or not. If you truly believe that that is more important right now than what you were going to do, don't be hard on yourself. Just allow yourself to change it. Carry on with the next day, especially if it's within your fitness routine. Just carry on with the next day and try to add that in another day. If not, leave that out completely and then just pick up next week and fit it in then. Because we are humans, we're not robots. We can't program ourselves to do all these things in a day. Sometimes I wish we could, and then expect nothing to interfere, because that's not how life works. It's just nice that you've got a plan in the first place and you've got something to follow as a guide, and you've been able to pick out the priorities and put them into your routine. And I believe it's much better than not having any kind of planning. As I said, I do it every Sunday and plan for the week ahead. I don't use it for my work stuff. In my job, I have a diary that I use to plan everything I do in work. The routine is just for my personal stuff. I would just get too confused. I wouldn't be able to fit everything in. So I do have a separate one because my job is my main role, so it becomes quite a big chunk of my routine. It would be really hard to fit everything that I do in that day into that routine's timing, and it would be too overwhelming. So that is done separately. Now, if you look at your routine that you've just put together using your priority box and everything, and you are finding there are gaps, bear in mind you do need rest. You could actually put an hour's rest each day into your routine so that you're definitely getting the rest you need, especially if you're really busy and it's physical, you may need that rest time. Or if you're doing a fitness program that's new to you, make sure you put that rest in there and highlight that. Is there gaps around this where you suddenly think, Why the gaps? I'm so busy. I'm always chasing the time. There's not enough hours in a day. So how are there gaps in my routine? So a good way of working out where them gaps have come from is when you start putting this into practice and you're doing your routine, just leave them blank for now and then just see at that time what it is you're actually doing. If you're finding yourself sitting and watching telly too long and you realise you're just wasting time, is there something that you could be doing more productive for half an hour, just to cut that half an hour away from the TV, that would help you get closer to your goals? And if so, write it down. The next time you do your weekly routine planning, write down what you've decided to do instead of watching TV, for example. So it's all about doing the planning, putting it into practice, and then making some changes if need be. And not being hard on yourself. Don't pressure yourself. Don't get yourself overwhelmed. Just enjoy it. Another thing, it's really important to tell your friends and family or the people close to you in your weekly life what you are doing, especially if you put in a completely new routine in your routine. So if you're doing a new fitness program, for example, and it takes out 4 or 5 days of your week, or you're doing something different, or as I mentioned last week, you want to walk the dog longer because you want to do more exercise. Make sure you let the people around you know what you're doing and why you're doing it. Because it's, as I said, it's the people around us that may demand our time and take us away from our routine. So if they understand, you'll feel better saying no to them. Make sure you put your own oxygen mask on before you help others. I feel for me it's really important that starting any new plans into my routine, that I don't let them slip, that I stick to them. I remember why I'm doing it. For example, the fitness that I'm doing, coming out for these walks, filming this video. Sometimes I don't feel like doing it. It is in my routine, but I don't feel like doing it. But I remind myself why I'm doing it, what drives me to do it, and how I will feel afterwards once I've done it. Knowing I've achieved it, I can sort of tick it off the day's list, if you like. I can tick it off my routine and I feel good for achieving it. And I know how I would feel if I didn't do it and that I would feel a failure. However, if something really important came up when I was going to come and do this and it was more important than me doing this, and I knew it was, then I would do this tomorrow morning instead. You know, I would find time to do it. It's not the end of the world, me having to change it. It's just if I have no real reason for not doing it, then that's when I feel like I've failed. So for me, it's really important to stick to what I've got in my weekly routine. I do talk about this a little bit more in my Wheel of Life series, which is over on my Patreon. So the link is in the description if you want to go and take a look. That's the Wheel of Life series, which is absolutely free. So head over there, have a look and see what you think. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Press that like button, and if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel. That would be amazing. I will see you on the next video where I'll be talking about how to deal with stress. Till then, take care. Goodbye.